So this time our topic will be problem solving and reasoning. So problems arise inevitably and so they must be dealt with objectively and successfully. So mathematics is not just about numbers. Much of it is problem solving and reasoning. So basically, problem solving and reasoning are inseparable. If you want to solve a problem, whether math problems or practical life problems, you must be there, or there must be some kind of reasoning to come up with a rational solution. So reasoning is the practice of stating ideas clearly and precisely to arrive at a certain conclusion. So in our life, we often make judgments and conclusions based on facts and observations. So these are not always true. Thus, we have to know the different ways of arriving at accurate conclusions. So what are these kinds of reasoning we commonly apply in solving problems? So first, we have the deductive and inductive reasoning. So maybe you are already familiar with this. So deductive and inductive reasoning are methods of making inferences used in developing statements about some mathematical concepts or phenomena or situations. So ano kayong pinagkaiba? So what is the difference between deductive reasoning and inductive reasoning? So let's have this diagram. For deductive reasoning, so based from the diagram, you have an inverted pyramid. So you start from the general principle down to pattern, down to specific cases. So from broader to something specific. So you move from general principles or statements to specific conclusions, relies on the idea of true statements having a consequence. As for inductive reasoning, you start from the opposite. Start kasi specific cases, down to pattern, down to the general statement. So moves from specific observations to general claims, or it is the process of gathering specific information, usually through observation, and then making a conclusion based on the gathered information. So start from something specific down to something broad. So for you to understand more about deductive and inductive reasoning, let's have these examples. So example number 1, consider the following arguments. Argument 1, the sum of two odd integers is an even number. 3 and 5 are odd integers. Thus, the sum of 3 and 5 is even. Let's have argument 2. 3 plus 5 is equal to 8. 7 plus 11 is equal to 18. Negative 5 plus 9 is equal to 4. Therefore, the sum of two odd integers is even. So based from the two given arguments, what do you think used, or which of the two kaya used deductive and inductive? Well, let's see if your answers are correct. So argument 1 uses a deductive form of reasoning. So as you can observe, the first statement is a general principle, while the second statement is an information based from the given principle, and the third statement is the conclusion, which is a specific statement drawn from the general principle. So nag-start siya sa rule down to examples. In argument 2 uses an inductive form of reasoning. The first statement is a premise, while the second is a conclusion. As can be observed, the premise consists of specific cases. So like 3 plus 5 equal to 8, 7 plus 11 equal to 18. So these are specific cases. So from that specific cases, nagkaroon ka ng conclusion, or you formed a rule. So that is inductive form of reasoning. Specific examples down to rule. Another example, let's have, in a right triangle, the two acute angles are complementary. Triangle ABC has B equal to 90 degrees. Therefore, A plus C is equal to 90 degrees. So what do you think is the form of reasoning used in example number 2? Is it deductive or inductive? So for this one, the statement uses a deductive form of reasoning. So here, the premise is a known property of a right triangle. Yung first statement mo, that is a known property of a right triangle. So parang nag-establish ka na ng rule. while the second statement implies that triangle ABC is a right triangle with angle A and angle B being acute. The third is the conclusion, which is specific statement drawn from the general principle. Hence, it uses deductive form of reasoning. As for example number 3, you have triangle ABC is a right triangle with A equal to 30 degrees and C equal to 60 degrees. A plus C is equal to 90 degrees. Therefore, in a right triangle, the two acute angles are complementary. So for this one, the example uses inductive form of reasoning. It's the opposite of example number 2. As can be observed, the first statements are specific cases and the last statement is a conclusion based from the specific statement. So that is inductive form of reasoning. Let's try another example. All numbers ending in 0 and 5 are divisible by 5. The number 35 ends with a 5. Hence, it is divisible by 5. So for this one, what do you think is the reasoning? What kind of reasoning is used? For example, number 4. Is it deductive or inductive? Okay, let's see. The statement uses a deductive form of reasoning. Why deductive? Yung first statement mo is already a rule. All numbers ending in 0 and 5 are divisible by 5. And then the second statement mo is a specific case based from the given rule. So that is deductive form of reasoning. Let's try another example. The chair in the living room is red. The chair in the dining room is red. The chair in the bedroom is red. Therefore, all chairs in the house are red. So what do you think is the kind of reasoning used in statement or in example number 5? Is it deductive or inductive? So the statement uses an inductive form of reasoning. So from observations or specific cases to general conclusion based from those observations. So yung mga first 3 sentences natin are all observations. You observe that the chair in the living room, the dining room, and the bedroom is red. So based from that observations, you come up with a conclusion, which is all chairs in the house are red. So that is inductive form of reasoning. Another kind of reasoning used in solving problem is intuition. So for this one, from the word itself, I think that is already self-explanatory. Intuition is similar to guessing or also called reasoning by common sense. It requires less mental activity and highly subjective, and it is the ability to acquire knowledge without proof, evidence, or conscious reasoning. So, ang ginagamit mo lang dito is yung gut feel mo. Example, given these two figures, these two triangles, you can identify which is bigger by using intuition and without actually measuring. So, in mathematics, we usually have to measure things or objects to prove which one is bigger. So, for this one, in this two figure, by the use of your intuition, a feeling ko it's the second triangle. So that is intuition. Next, saying, I think I will like this subject after your first meeting in class is an intuition. Or for example, during exams and you're not sure with the answer, but you feel it you have the gut feeling that it's letter B. So that is reasoning using intuition. Another kind of reasoning is proof. So this one is the opposite of intuition. Proof shows a statement to be true using definitions, theorems, and postulates, or conclusions of some other previously accepted statements, or algebraic properties. So for this one naman, you have to show or you have to have a statement that will support your claim. Like if x minus 7 is equal to 10, then x is equal to 17. So for you to prove that the statement is correct, you have to solve it. So if x minus 7 is equal to 10, so x minus 7 plus 7 is equal to 10 plus 7. So you have to isolate x from the left side of the equation. Kaya nag-add tayo ng 7 on both sides of the equation. So mag-isa na yung x doon. So x is equal to 17. By the use of addition property of equality, we can show that the value of x is 17. Thus, the statement is true. So, ano yung proof na ginamit mo? You have the solution and the use of addition property of equality. So, that is reasoning by proof. Okay, so that's it for the first part of our topic. You have the first activity in your LMS. It's a 5-item activity, and for your bonus, maglagay kayo ng number 6. So, number 6, just write there, problem solving and reasoning. Kung wala kayong nilagay na number 6, ibig sabihin, hindi nyo tinapos ng video dito. So, that will be your bonus.